everybody, Geraldine Rose here. Today we're inking through and pasting over top of a stencil for a hop. The theme for September's hop was geometric, and you can't get much more geometric than just plain old squares, which is the Altenew grid stencil that I'm using. I wanted to do something a bit different this time with it. We are also used to doing the positive aspect of a stencil where you ink through or whatever else through the holes in it. I also wanted to use the negative aspect, the actual stencil itself. So I have gotten out some black grit paste, and you can see I watered it down and made it into a slurry, and I dabbed the stencil into it first, and then I picked up what was left and slathered it on there. Because it's grit paste, you want the texture. To make certain that the stencil is pretty much covered, I'm going to bring out some oxide spray. And if you have to have one that's going to leak, this is the worst. It was the black soot spray. You can see me wiping it down. I've got black all over my hands. Wiped it off again at the end. Checking to make certain, as I said, that I've got the curvature of that stencil, and I'm very carefully placing it down over my panel so that I don't get a double image on it. Bring in some paper towel, squish it all down so that it makes certain that your stencil's got good contact all the way through. I actually considered using that paper towel for a project. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. So I peeled it off. We set it aside to dry. It took about maybe an hour or so because it was quite thin. It wasn't like a normal paste that you would put down because I had watered it down and slurried it. Anyway, once it was dry, I masked off portions of the stencil with some satin tape, and then I'm going in with some turquoise colors and some green colors and some reds at the end, and I am stenciling in just spots through there. I had no rhyme or reason. I was just kind of like, oh, I've got a spot here. Let's just put it down. So that's what we're doing, and the colors are kind of blending but creating this neat background. I'm like, oh, it's looking rather like 1960s. This is kind of funky groovy. It's the colors that are with it, and then the black on the texture paste is quite nice. I didn't have any bling bling on this, and it's a really busy background, so all I did was bring in 3 of the solar sprays, so the blue, the orange, and the green, and I did little squares, and you can see I'm kind of checking there, okay, where's a spot that I haven't got that if I put this stencil down, I'm gonna not mess up the other ones that are still not completely dry. Little square by little square, and it's like doing a puzzle, right? Hey, a lot of us enjoy doing that, especially if we're doing die cuts too, because piecing those together as well. It's kind of very satisfying, very zen-like. Just get in a little zone and watch. Hey, I caught that. Hey, getting good at that. So I ran it through with the Altenew Rows of Squares folder on 2 of the edges, realizing now I shouldn't have done that. It didn't give me the effect I wanted, but I just left it because, of course, it was done. And hey, look at my editing. Huh? Putting all those little pieces down. I was also doing a second card you can see that's in the background. So this one that we used was the pumpkin duo for this part. And getting more careful at the end, making certain that plate doesn't fly off. The pumpkins, I wanted to have shading around the bottoms and on the sides a wee bit. So I'm bringing in some of the darker orange ink, and you can see I'm going through each of this layers of it in turn, deepening up just certain edges on there. And this is, of course, just, slapping together, gluing them. I am going to have to refer to the layering guide or the picture that's on the Sizzix folder over there. Just like, okay, where do I put that last little funky piece? And that's where I'm checking to see how much the one pumpkin's going to overhang the other, because they're both quite thick with the layers that you've got. And I needed foam tape underneath the one just to make certain that it ended up at the same level. So this is the Simon Says Stamp Oh My Gourd die set. Oh My Gourd. I did it in turquoise tone so that it would stand out across that background. Just double checking there on that. Set it down into the negative part that I had cut out so that I could put the other one over top. The my on this one, it keeps kind of flipping out of place because it's got such a small little letter holding it. Dabbing it into the Versamark ink. We are going to bring in some of the Wow Dull Matte Embossing Powder for this. I wanted to build it up a little bit, but I didn't want it to be glossy because I'm going to put a glossy black behind it. And when you first heat emboss this matte one, it's shiny at first, and as it dries and cools down, it goes the matte. It gives you a really velvety texture, and Amy Rasavi put me onto this. I really like this stuff. Here's where I'm putting it down with the glossy black behind, and I did that so that it would stand out against that busy background that we've got. So we're just seeing where it's going to fit up at the top there, setting it into place. We're going to set the pumpkins into place here. And I seriously did consider putting some of my square bling bling on there, but then I went, you know what? No, you got so much going on here, girl. So just jump to the inside with the honeybee fall for you stamps, and once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. That stamp in the middle, I've got a note on it now that it's not stamping right in that middle section. And it did it with the green there as well too. I'm really squashing it down there. So on the back, we have our custom stamp in more turquoise colors to tie in with the whole card. And then I needed to bring the stencil just back in for one little bit. So very, very lightly with what was left on the brush, putting some of the oranges on the inside. So we've got the carryover through. And that is the finished card. So not a lot of bling bling on this one. No splatter. Can you believe it? No splatter. But hey, it's done for the stencil, which is up Friday morning. Now, everybody, you go be that change you want to see in the world. Thanks for subbing, liking, commenting. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.